Hey, Rob here for Quadratec.com. Over the past few weeks, we've been upgrading Matt's 3-liter EcoDiesel equipped JL Rubicon from a run-of-the-mill Wrangler to an AEV equipped monster that's ready to tackle everything from rock crawling to multi-day overland adventures. In our previous weeks, we got that new AEV 2.5-inch dual sport suspension installed, along with the new Bore wheels and Mickey Thompson Baja Boss all-terrain tires. And we also installed those new AEV heavy-duty differential covers. If you want to get more information about any of those products, you can click the info button to watch our previous videos. Now today we're going to be addressing the front end in the way of a new bumper, winch, and some off-road lights. But before we get on to the new products, well, we've got to get this boring factory plastic bumper out of the way. And in exchange, we're installing an AEV RX Stubby front bumper, Quadratec Q Performance Series Stealth synthetic winch, and AEV's 7000 series driving lights. Before we dive into all the features of these great new products, why don't we go ahead and back up just a few steps. Now, with most of the RX bumper skin removed, we can check out some of the great features of the ease of install. Now, because it is a modular design, that means you don't have to lift one single heavy bumper, winch, and lights up onto the frame of the Jeep. It's especially helpful if you're completing the install by yourself. The RX bumper can be used with or without a winch. Now, the integrated winch plate is available separately, but as you can see, it sets your winch down nice and low here, still allowing plenty of airflow to your radiator, positioning that winch down between the frame rails. The other great thing about installing your winch at this point, well, it makes the install, again, very easy for one person. You can set that winch into place easily, bolt it down, and complete your wiring. They also designed the RX and the EX front bumpers to be compatible with most winches on the market, including the much larger Warn Xeon line of winches. Now, for Matt's Jeep, you can see he selected the Quadratec Q Performance Series Stealth 12,000-pound synthetic winch. If you want to get more information on any of the line of Q Performance Series winches, you can click that info button. Of course, there's some really great features built into this winch, like the integrated drum light and the dual function wired and wireless winch controller. Now, while most of the skin is removed here, we can also check out this really great integrated bumper hoop. It's designed from heavy duty steel to offer you a lot of protection to the front grille of your Jeep, which is especially important if you're going to be far away from assistance, aiding you in making sure that you can get home, get off the trail, get to your destination, even if something unexpected like an accidental impact to the front of your Jeep arises. Now, at this point, why don't we go ahead and get some more of the bumper skin in place, along with the lower skid plate and those end caps. Now, before we get the last end cap installed, as you can see, the RX bumper is compatible with the factory fog lights. In fact, it's compatible with all the different versions of factory fog lights. So whether your Jeep came with incandescent or LED lights in the Sport, plastic Rubicon or Sahara bumpers, or even the stamped steel bumper, all of them will bolt right into the RX and the EX bumpers with the included adapter brackets. Now, as you can see, we took the opportunity to go ahead and upgrade Matt's fog lights to a set of JW Speaker projector fog lights that will perfectly match the Quadratec premium LED projector headlights that we recently installed in his Jeep. And you can get more information on those by clicking the info button to watch that video that we put together just a short while back. Now, before we get this last end cap installed, I did want to mention the material and the forming process that AEV is using to craft their RX and EX bumper. Now, we did see the use of some mild steel for things like our winch plate and our bumper hoop, but all of the stamped components in the bumper, including the end cap, center section, and the skid plate, are crafted from hot stamped boron steel. Now, there's actually two things there. There's the hot stamping process, and there is the very specific boron steel alloy that is being used. Now, traditionally, boron has been used by OE car manufacturers in key safety components like crush zones and A-pillars. Now, AEV is using that boron steel to add a significant amount of strength to their front bumper without adding a ton of weight. As you can see on this end cap here, the overall material actually ends up being pretty thin and pretty lightweight. Now, that hot stamping process actually forms the material while it's hot and cools it in the die further hardening the material to help it resist things like gouging, bending, and breaking. It also adds an added layer of corrosion protection to the finished pieces with the E-coat and powder coat, which should help these pieces resist corrosion for a very long time to come. Now, why don't we go ahead and get this last end cap installed along with all the plastic trim. Then we can move on to getting our winch Fairlead installed by first pulling some winch rope out to slip through the Fairlead and then secure it in place with the provided hardware. We'll also slide an AEV winch hook isolator over our winch line before securing the hook to the rope, and that's simply going to prevent any chance of damage occurring to that aluminum Fairlead from the winch hook itself. But before we move on to installing the 7000 series lights on the bumper, we first need to remove that universal style mounting bracket from the back of the lights. We're also going to be rotating the bezel and lens 180 degrees. That's simply to make sure the AEV logos are the right side up once we install the lights on the bumper. Next, we can install the new mounting bracket to the back side of the light, reusing the original hardware and isolators, and then attach the other half of the mounting bracket to the underside of the bumper hoop. At that point, we can go ahead and plug in our light and secure it in place with the provided hardware. The 7000 series lights are a 7-inch off-road light constructed from a die-cast aluminum housing with a durable Lexan lens and vibration isolating mounting brackets to help ensure a nice long lifespan from your lights. They feature an IP69K waterproof rating. And are you guys ready? 8,000 effective lumens of light output. When I tell you these things are bright, they are bright. In fact, AEV supplies you with these covers for when the lights that are not in use, and they come with a warning. These lights are so powerful, AEV reminds you to never turn on the lights with the covers in place because they will in fact melt the covers, which could potentially damage your lights as well. Now, the lens projects all of that light in a hybrid beam pattern, which is especially great for overland style travel in remote areas. That's going to throw that light far down the road and off to the shoulder to help show any active wildlife that may be in the area for you. Now, with the install of our lights, that wraps up the install of our RX front bumper, Quadratec Q Performance Stealth Winch, and lights here on the front of Matt's Jeep. And you can see just what a night and day difference it is to go from that stock plastic bumper to the AEV RX stubby width front bumper. Not only is this bumper tucked nice and tight against the front of the Jeep, but it's raised up from the stock position as well to help give us really great approach angles when we're out on the trail, plenty of tire clearance. Of course, we've got that hot stamped boron steel skid plate down low to give us some added protection to the front end. We've got two heavy duty nodular iron recovery points to go along with our Stealth Q Performance Series winch, of course. Now, even though that winch is down low in the bumper, I really like that AEV has given you plenty of access to your winch. Not only is it easy to see your winch line there when it's spooling in during a recovery, but you've got plenty of room to reach down in here, even adjust that winch line if you need to. That's a really thoughtful feature to give you that much room around the winch. Then, of course, we've got this great integrated hoop to support our lights, but also conceal all of the wiring for the lights for a very clean install. Now, if you guys want to get any more information or to purchase any of the products I installed on the front of Matt's Jeep today, of course, you can click that info button, head over to quadratec.com. And if you haven't already and you like these videos, guys, do me a huge favor. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification icon so you'll be sure to catch the next and final video in our AEV series where we install Matt's new rear bumper and tire carrier. Until next time, guys, I'm Rob. I'll see you out on the trail.